All right, good evening. Today is Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. It is 3:30 p.m. Mountain Time. I am doing my second driving video. This time I have a microphone attached to my shirt to see if that helps at all. But just fueled up on gas. I'm going to be going the opposite direction that I did in my first video. So instead of going toward Salt Lake City, I'm going to be going toward Ogden, but I'm going to be going actually well past Ogden to a place called North Logan, Utah. I've never been there, but they're supposed to have a fun little pumpkin walk with cool like backdrop decorations. So we'll see how it goes. The temperature today is 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's get ready to go. And again, since I'm going a direction that I've never gone on the highway, if I happen to miss exits or anything like that, oh well.
Left onto North Church Street, then turn right onto Utah 193 West. Take the next right onto Utah 193 West, East 3000 North.
Interesting, they want me to go to the right here. I thought I was going to be taking the highway on the left. Guess I should have looked at the Google Map directions ahead of time, right? Let's see where they got me going. That way. Alright, I'll try to figure that out then.
Continue on Utah 193 West for 1.5 miles.
Got a little bit of sun glare coming on the left side right now from the windshield, but once we're going to be making a right turn once we do get on the highway, so that should be the complete opposite direction of the sun. So I'm hoping that when that happens, that the footage will not have any sun, because I'm going to try to keep that in mind whenever I'm filming driving videos, the trajectory or height of the sun or location of the sun. The miles per hour on this road is 55 miles per hour. On the right side is the Layton, Utah Air Force Base. So you'll often hear the planes whizzing by. I mean, it's not like constant throughout the whole day, but there's just certain times of the day where you can tell they must be practicing or whatnot. Yeah, I don't know if you could hear that. I couldn't see it on the video, but you might be able to hear that whooshing sound of a plane jetting by.
In a quarter mile, keep left to continue on Utah 193 West, West 3000 North.
I ended up watching my first video back. Well, first when I uploaded it to my computer,
Continue on Utah 193 West.
the audio was just so low, I actually had to go into my editing program and increase it by like 7 decibels. The problem was if I tried to increase it any further, then
Continue on Utah 193 West for 1.5 miles.
the audio just became too distorted to even make out what I was saying. But it still sounded too low on the computer. But then when I watched the video back in full, I watched it on my television, and there it sounded really good, so I was like, huh. But anyway, I think this, having the microphone on, will improve the audio pretty drastically. We'll see. I don't really think there's a way for me to avoid the glare that exists when I'm going like certain directions right now. It just depends if I'm going away from the sun, like hopefully I will soon. Speed limit is now 50 miles per hour, but again, with traffic being a little busy right now, kind of going more like 40. Now, the very first time that I took this particular highway, I was confused when I first turned right, because you turn right and there's like two different paths to go and you got to make your decision quickly. Now I know you go to the left, but you'll see when we get up there. It's like first you turn onto a road called South Frontage Road, but then immediately you're making a left turn. Yeah, so right now I'm just doing 35 miles per hour. You can see that it's a little slow go. You're even coming to a stop. But Google Maps does a really good job of like warning you of that. Normally, Google Maps, they have a map of the entire city on your phone, and the route that you're taking will normally be colored in blue, so that kind of guides you so you can see in advance, like, oh, where am I headed? But certain parts of the road might be colored orange or red. If it's colored red, that means it's like really busy traffic at that moment, and you'll experience situations like this where you may be backed up a little. If the color is orange, it's kind of like in between. If it's blue, it's usually normal driving conditions. And that also helps you on the highway, because if you're on the highway, you know which sections of the highway are going to be rush hour or having to go slower. And then also you can peek ahead to like, okay, when does that type of traffic conditions cut out and it resumes normal again. I assume the way that Google's able to do that is so many people probably use Google Maps, and they're able to fetch that data of like how fast you're going, and they have your GPS location. So it's like all that stuff, just think of the amount of data points associated with it that allows them to paint an accurate picture. Guess I should read the warning sign on this dump vehicle ahead of me. It says, warning, stay back 200 feet, not responsible for like things coming into your windshield, basically. Well, that's nice to know. Maybe I'll just linger back a hair more than usual. It's not like I'm getting anywhere faster.
In 600 feet, turn right onto South Frontage Road.
Yeah, I am going to be going in that right lane, as you see cars are doing now, but I didn't want to squeeze by it. I didn't know if, the road kind of doesn't get its full width of a lane up until right where that truck is ahead of me. I mean, obviously cars are doing it, but I guess that comes with more experience.
frontage road, then use any lane to take the I-15 North ramp.
So yeah, you turn right on the south frontage road, and then when I first came here, I was like, oh
Use any
shoot,
lane to take the
there's a left
I-15
and a right.
North ramp.
You just take the left side here. That gets you to
In
the
a quarter
highway.
mile, merge onto I-15 North. Continue on I-15 North for 27 miles.
27 miles, so we're going to be on I-15 North for quite a bit here. And the speed limit on this highway is 70 miles per hour, although we might be getting, it's not quite like evening time or early evening where there would be rush hour, but you might see a little bit of slowdown up ahead. And as I talked about, oh, it looks like we're slowing down already right here. As I talked about in my first driving video, but I'll mention it again real quickly, one of the things as a young driver that I quickly picked up for the highway is if you're going a long distance and you're staying like on the relative same path, don't stay in the right side lanes, or if there's this many lanes, don't stay in the right two lanes, because that right lane's going to consistently be exiting. That second to right lane will often be merging into the next exit or two. But if you stay in the middle lane and you're maintaining the speed of the highway, you're not going slow, you're going to be doing pretty good in terms of not having to shift lanes consistently throughout your highway journey. Now this one, like 26 miles on the same path, that's probably the longest single stretch I've had. I think the other ones I've had might have been like 15 miles before you had to, I would still be on the highway, but it's like you have to pick a certain fork in the road or something else, and then it continues on. This suction device that I have, that it's attached to my dashboard, it worked well when I did my video last week on Saturday. But I know when I was later in the day, I'm not sure if it was when I was driving home or what, I didn't even have my camera attached to it at the time, and all of a sudden I'm driving and the thing just unsucks, meaning the suction uncupped, and I was driving when I actually reached out blindly with my right hand and caught it and just threw it on the seat. So it was a pretty smooth move that I did, but I guess I'll have to be wary of that. Hopefully the suction's strong enough now. The recommended thing to re-stick it was to run it underwater and kind of just like wash it, because when I was getting in the car today, I didn't wash it or do anything. I just tried to stick it again and it had zero stickability. Like I tried applying it and it just fell right off, but then I went in real quick, rinsed it off. I tried drying it with a towel and paper towel, and that wasn't good because all the little fibers on that just stuck to the device or the piece of equipment. So I just rinsed it off again and kind of let it air dry for a minute or two, and then when I applied it, it seemed like it had good suction. So we shall see whether it holds up for this little over an hour drive. I mean, we've been going for 15 minutes already. We really haven't gone anywhere. But I can see on Google Maps ahead, we'll get to a stretch where we're driving and it's not stop and go like this. We are slowing down to, well, obviously we're not going anywhere fast right now, but the speed limit on the stretch of the highway up here goes to 60 miles per hour because of a work zone with construction that's going on. I think that's part of the reason why it might be slower the past couple days when I've taken the highway out on here, the little bit of construction, because then traffic seems to resume normally once you pass that construction point. So I started this drive in Layton, Utah. As far as the cities that are above us, meaning we're headed north right now, I think it's Riverdale, and then after Riverdale you're pretty much hitting Ogden, whether it be, I like the entire area would be called Ogden, but I believe there's distinction of like South Ogden and maybe North Ogden. I just refer to the whole thing as Ogden. You can see the sign on the right says, at exit 338 there is an Air Force Museum. I've never been to that, but it's supposedly a very nice museum with a bunch of planes in it. So one day maybe I'll go there and do a video showcase on that. I think I looked on YouTube before, because when you're doing museums, you never know if you're allowed to actually record footage in there, and you want to be respectful of that. But if I'm not mistaken, I think a year or two ago when I looked up that museum on YouTube, I think a couple of people had done like full walkthrough videos. So that might be something fun to explore one day. Once we get to a certain point, like well past Ogden and off this highway, we're going to veer. I don't know if we're going to be going through the mountains or just like, I don't know. I definitely know the highway turns into like only 2 lanes each direction with a median in between. So we will get a little bit of a different perspective before long. Yeah, you can see this is part of the construction. So I'm assuming in the future that this right barrier will not be here, and you'll have, well, maybe not, I don't know, there's kind of a gap right there. I was thinking maybe, I don't know, but then it seems to resume over here. I'm thinking that they're going to improve and have like 1 or 2 more lanes at this point. But maybe that'll just be for the Riverdale exit. Yeah, but right there, that the past few days has been the bottleneck. So right now we should be able to start going back up to 70 miles per hour and smooth sailing, at least for the foreseeable future. Ogden 3 miles, Brigham City in 24 miles. So I believe we're going to be going past Brigham City as well on the highway. You're not actually going to see much of the city, but in terms of where we're getting off and on. Ogden has a really neat downtown area. They do a lot of themed events throughout the year. They've got a good arts section, some murals, some horses with, when I say horses, I mean like horse statues with decorative designs on them. Good mix of bars and restaurants and places to eat. I've done a couple of bicycle riding videos in Ogden before, where I kind of start near the downtown area, or one time I actually rode all the way from Layton to Ogden. That was a pretty long ride, longer than I expected. But yeah, you can ride that bicycle trail all the way to the mountains. You pass up a dinosaur park on that bike trail as well. If you're taking, because I'm also a big proponent of public transportation, so if you're taking public transportation, the front runner train, oftentimes you can pick it up from downtown Salt Lake City, but the full width that it stretches southward, it goes all the way to Provo. And then northbound Ogden is the final stop for the front runner train. I don't know if the regular bus system goes beyond that or not. Sometimes you hit those subtle hills on the highway and you gotta remember to pick up your speed again. Like that was a little hill that I was going upward and I noticed my speed drifted down to 64 miles per hour. So now I'm back up to 70. And ideally, you do not want to be driving next to a semi like this. So I'm going to once we get beyond this turn, try to accelerate past that. The reason being is those trucks have a blind spot. I mean, they're not going to be shifting lanes often, but they do have a blind spot. Like if you're driving to the side of them, they really can't see you at certain points when they're looking out of their mirror. And again, remember what I was saying about the speed of traffic around you, because if you're noticing cars are I'm either staying steady right now or they're even like passing me. Right now I'm going, the speed limit's 70. My Google Maps is telling me I'm going 74, 75. So that tells you that they're going either that same speed or faster. Now, I don't want to go too fast. Like, I try to maintain plus or minus 5 miles per hour of the speed limit. But the reason you don't want to go like say if I was going -5 at this time, like 65 miles per hour and everyone else is going 75, that's, it may sound safe, like, oh, don't go over the speed limit, but it's actually could be more dangerous if you're a super slow vehicle, well, super slow in the context of things, when everyone else is going 10 miles per hour faster. So you want to at least be going a similar speed as everyone around you. What you don't want to do is be the lone vehicle that's speed racing. So my intent is never, when I'm going that high, like I'm not trying to speed race. I'm trying to match what's around me. You know what I'm curious of? Maybe I missed a speed limit sign somewhere, because Google's telling me that the speed limit here is 75 miles per hour right now. The highest that I've seen on a sign is 70. I didn't know there were any that went to 75, so maybe that's the reason why everyone's going faster. I'll have to keep my eye out and look for signs. Again, young driver. I've been on the highway as a passenger many times. I didn't know there were speed limits that ever went above 70 on posted signs. I'll have to keep my eye out for that. Well, I'll be darned. There it is. Speed limit, 75 miles per hour. Okay. Now see, that ruins the whole talk I was doing earlier when I was saying about everyone else going 5 miles per hour faster. I was actually going 5 miles per hour slower than them. Or, well, technically I said I was going 75s. So I was going the speed limit, but I was thinking I was going above it. Yeah, usually I try to maintain awareness of those posted signs. I must have just missed when it changed to 75 earlier. I'm gonna have to Google to see if there's what's like the highest posted sign for a highway. Because now I know 75 at least exists. Is there such a thing as an 80 mile per hour? I mean, at some point you gotta have like a cutoff, like, okay, we're not having a limit above this, right? Although maybe it helps that a lot of this is a relatively straight path. And maybe lesser traffic going out this way, since you're going away from the big city or bigger cities. You're going to more rural areas. Like even right now, you see vehicles still maintaining speed or going faster than me. And I, just a second ago, clocked 80 briefly before I'm slowing back down here to 76. But it's kind of, it's all relative. Like you may think to yourself, oh God, like 80 miles per hour, that must be crazy. But when everyone else is going the same speed, like, you don't even notice it so much. Well, with that higher speed miles per hour, that brings us up on our exits a little bit quicker. We're about 11 miles away from when we have to make a decision. And I always like to say, once you get under that 2 mile mark, that's when I start getting ready to shift over to the appropriate lane, whether that's left, right, or staying in the center. You kind of just peek ahead to Google Maps and see what exit they're telling you. This is a case right now where we're doing a slight turn, so I don't want to speed up yet to get past this truck. on the right. But once we get straight again, I'm gonna accelerate and try to get past that, like right here. And that acceleration wasn't like me going crazy. I actually topped at 77 miles per hour. You just got to pick the moment when you accelerate. I don't want to do that when I'm turning, if at all possible. So Brigham City is 13 miles away, and well, the other big cities that are mentioned are like 118 miles away. And if you kept going north, I guess you'd eventually get toward Idaho. I don't know, I forget if this is the highway that takes you there. I was there briefly for one day back in June, but I wasn't driving that day because I didn't have my license yet. The warning on the right side, it says drowsy driving causes crashes. Yes, definitely want to be a safe driver at all times, not sleepy, not under the influence. Look at that on the right, drowsy drivers, next exit is 3.5 miles, or fatigued drivers. So they're trying to give like a reminder. Now, something that would be kind of freaky to me, because I'm looking around and I see no, maybe I'm just missing them, but I see no lights around. So if I were driving this at nighttime, I mean, it's scary enough. Let me back up and talk about that for a second. So yesterday, for example, I drove about 2 hours at nighttime. I had a few things I was doing, like a Halloween house and going to the store, but part of the reason that I actually waited. Like, I could have gone out when it was still daylight out, but I sat and waited for like an hour before I left. And yes, one of the reasons was I wanted to do a video for the Halloween house at nighttime, but another reason is I wanted to gain more nighttime driving experience. And my assessment of nighttime driving is I can do it, but in terms of enjoyment, I absolutely hate it. Daytime driving seems like a joy. It's pleasurable, fun, and the reason is just being able to identify things. Like, I am definitely paying attention to the road, but it's so easy to see where the lane is that you're in, or where the exits are, or if you're on regular roads, it's so easy to see if you're turning into a driveway for a store. You can identify it from a long distance away. Nighttime, forget it. At least for me, I have to stare intently at the lines on the road in front of me. If I am pulling into a parking lot where a Target is, a shopping strip, it's not too well lit on the road, so it's actually tough to identify where that apron of the driveway is to be able to turn. So I'm looking at Google Maps, I'm like, I know it's coming up soon, but I don't know if I'm supposed to turn yet, because the lights on your vehicle are pointed straight ahead. They're not pointed, to the left or right where the shopping strip thing would be. So it almost feels like a last second guessing game. So that brings me back to the highway here. I don't see any lights around. How the heck? Yeah, you would be paying attention to the lines on the road, but that would seem kind of scary. Speaking of scary, I'm seeing that truck ahead of me briefly swayed into that into the lane that I'm in now. So I'm going to want to get ahead of that guy. Okay, so 3 miles we're going to be going for exit 362. Well, I'm telling you, that 75 miles per hour really does make things go faster in terms of the Google Maps mileage. I wonder if that's the next exit, because you know, exits are further and fewer between at this stage. So normally I wait until under 2 miles before I shift over, but now I've got like a little bit of a unique decision to make for my purpose, because I see 2 trucks ahead of me and I kind of don't want to be stuck behind them, but I don't want to...
In 2 miles, take exit 362 for 1100 South Street toward US 91, US 89.
There's actually 3 trucks. I don't want to wait too long and then not be able to get by them in time. Let's see, I got 1.7 miles. Maybe I'll get in front of this UPS truck here. Yeah. And then we'll just stay here for now. Exit 362, 1 mile away. And I believe at this exit 362 is when we're going to start going toward the right direction, like toward the mountains. Oh, guess I gotta be in this lane now. Exit 362.
In half a mile, take exit 362 for 1100 South Street toward US 91, US 89.
This is
Take exit 362, then keep right at the fork.
exit 362, then right at the fork.
Keep right at the fork.
Okay, so we're not going up there to the exit, we're going
Continue on US 91 north for 24 miles.
to the right. Now this speed limit is 55 miles per hour. I scouted this a little bit on Google Maps ahead of time. So this is what I was talking about, how there's like 2 lanes going each direction, and sometimes there's a median in between and sometimes there's not. There's just a double yellow line, meaning you shouldn't be driving there. But on the same note, you also want to make sure no driver going the opposite way, since there's no median, is being crazy and like swaying. So this is 775 west. And according to Google Maps, we are still 37 minutes away, 31 miles from our destination. I think as we keep going ahead, again, that's when it looks like we might be going through mountain areas. We'll see. I keep saying we'll see. on that sign on the right says Mantua 4, Logan 24. Going uphill a little bit here. So you gotta apply more force to the gas and get up that hill. Here's again on Google Maps where I had scouted that we resume that barrier with the 2 lanes on either direction. Now we're picking up to 65 miles per hour here. I mean, maybe I'm overthinking things. I was going to say the lane looks a little narrow. Alright, here goes nothing. We're going through the canyons, mountainous area. Surprised the speed limit was 65 given all the turns and narrowness, but I'm not going 65 right now. I'm just going between 55 to 60 when I'm doing the turns, at least. I mean, it's not bad, but I feel with the barrier on my left and like my personal opinion of a slightly narrower lane, I feel a greater sense of myself having my eyes glued to the road and being careful with my turning movements. I got a truck that's stopped up here. Or no, they're not stopped, they're just going very slow with their blinkers on. Alright, so this is the part that, going through here that I really wanted to shoot for this video, because I was hoping it would look like this and maybe be a cool video for whoever's watching to experience. Yeah, I guess you can see why the trucks go slow through here. I'm not certain if it's because they can't accelerate up the hill, or if it's just safety reasons. Now I'm going to make sure I pick up my speed a little bit, because you also don't want to be too close with vehicles behind you, and I could see a straighter stretch of road coming up. And also, slower traffic is supposed to keep to the right, so I better, if I'm going to choose to be in the left lane, I better at least be maintaining that 65 mile per hour speed. to speed up before I have to make this turn. So since we've been doing so many turns, I don't know if we'll eventually have the sunlight come in our vision of our camera or not. Right now we're shielded by the mountains or canyons on either side of us. I mean, I still feel comfortable during this whole ride, but I can see why my partner was trying to warn me, or at first she was trying to say like I wouldn't do that. She's like, I wouldn't even want to really drive that, but she was at least like bringing it to my attention that it was a different driving experience than I had done so far in my practicing. So it was good to have that heads up and be mentally prepared for this ahead of time. Yeah, another thing I thought to myself, like, oh, since I've started driving, maybe in the future I could do some like really long road trips or cross-country road trips, but then you see certain things like this where there's no lights again, and it's like, oh geez, maybe I'd have to do those drives during the peak of summer when there's maximum daylight, or B, just make sure you plan around having pit stops and layovers whenever you're getting toward evening time. You kind of plan that out ahead of time. I don't know, I'm not sure if I'd want to be comfortable driving this late night. Or who knows, maybe as I get more experience with driving, maybe this will be no sweat, as long as you're still just paying attention. We are definitely in like the middle of no man's land right now. I've always been fascinated though by things like this. Like, think of the amount of time it must have taken to carve out the infrastructure of these highway roads from one city to the next, where there's really nothing in between. I got to be careful of my speed, because going downhill there, I was starting to accelerate. Like, speed limit 65, I was starting to go 70, and then going downhill, it was bringing me to faster speed than I want to go right now. Says we are 27 minutes away from my destination. Now, it doesn't mean 27 minutes on the highway. See, now I got to pick up the speed again because we're going uphill. I think we might be on the highway for about 12 more miles, and then we might be doing city roads after that. But like I said, this is my first time going to this particular direction, whether that be as a driver or a passenger. And then on the right side you have a bunch of cows, just like brown cows all over the field eating grass. So somewhere out here you do have farm owners, even though I can't even see the houses that they would belong to. was one long turn that you had to keep angled the entire time. That's why I wasn't narrating, trying to stay focused. I don't know, something about that, seeing that visible barricade in the middle. I mean, it's assuring on one hand because it's like you're not going to run into the traffic on the other side, but you're making that turn and you're just like oh, don't, make sure you stay in the lane you're in. Some of these turns are a little bit sharp too. Like they're not your traditional, like what I would normally see on a bigger highway. Now you're doing it the opposite way, going left. Now in the distance, I see civilization again. There's actually, God, believe it or not, there's a road right there. 65 miles per hour on this road, but there's a road you could have turned on to the right or turned in several roads. That's why these cars are like shifting over from the left lane. Are slowing down a hair here to 60 miles per hour for the speed limit. It says this is a work zone, little construction zone up ahead. I don't know if that's just where those two signs are. We might have a traffic light coming up here. Yeah, and see, something, I don't know if other states do this, but in Utah I've noticed they have these yellow things, like prepare to stop when those yellow things are flashing. It's giving you a heads up that there's a stop sign ahead. And this is Main Street. A lot of these cities have a main street. I don't know what particular city this is in that we're in right now. I got 4.6 miles on the current stretch of road that I'm on, although it looks like that I'm just going to be angling toward the left once that 4.6 miles ends. Got a railroad track here. green sign there still says Logan is 7 miles away. My Google Maps says that I am 20 minutes from the particular park that I'm trying to get to, and also 12 miles. Some Utah State University like dairy center on the right. Looked like that's what the sign said. Something to that effect. Something on the left called the American West Heritage Center. Maybe they're getting ready for construction here, because on that sign on the right said new traffic pattern begins Thursday, October 26th, which I think is 2 days from now. Animal Science Farm for Utah State University on the right. USI. I was going to say, I don't know what that bus or truck was. At first I thought it was USU. I was going to say Utah State University, but that's not what it said. These traffic lights are bagged up, so they're not in operation. Alright, 1.7 miles. I'm going to be making a left-hand turn. The first couple days I was driving, those center lanes are confused the hell out of me. You know, I've always seen them, but like I never really paid attention to them. And then when I started focusing on it, I was like, what the hell? And then I realized, okay, they're used as a lane where both vehicles can turn from, or if you're turning off of a road onto a busy street like this, you kind of use it as your merging lane. Like you make your turn, get there for step one, and then step two you actually then merge over to the normal lane. Okay, half a mile, we're going to be turning left.
Turn left onto Utah 252 North, South 1000 West.
It should be at the traffic light, so hopefully we have an actual dedicated turn lane. Yeah, it looks like we do. I don't know, it doesn't say if I need to be in the...
Turn left onto Utah 252 North, South 1000 West.
It doesn't say whether it matters which turn lane of the two. I'm picking this one because I looked up ahead, and eventually down the road I'm going to be making a right-hand turn. So in case there's two lanes of traffic, I'll be on this left side. Or sorry, this right side. I'm going to turn that air conditioning off for a second. I mean, it felt good the whole ride here, but now it's getting a little... my hands are getting a little cold. monitoring the battery life of my thing. I see another nice thing about this gimbal. I have it plugged into the car, and it is slowly draining, but it's only gone from 100% to down to 80%. So for over an hour of recording time, it's maintaining it. And my phone with Google Maps has gone from 100% to 86%. So I like both. For having an hour of recording time, I like both of those scenarios.
Utah 252 north for 6 miles.
So the speed limit here is 45 miles per hour. If it's not too dark, because I want to make sure I gotta be careful of that now. I can't film too long here. I want to get back before it starts fading to nighttime. But if there is a place to eat out here too that has like a hidden gem, so to speak, I kind of want to Google map that after I film my pumpkin walk video. And then when I say pumpkin walk, this is supposed to be like they have a lot of unique and cool backdrops. Not similar to a scarecrow festival, but more of a scenery thing. A bunch of little sceneries. It's at a place called Elk Ridge Park, although they call it the North Logan Pumpkin Walk. I caught wind of it on Instagram last week, and today is supposed to be the final day that it is open. It's free to the public. It's supposed to be open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Yeah, sometimes you do have irregularities to what Google Maps tells you. You see the speed limit earlier was 40, I think, or 45. Google Maps is still telling me, or was telling me 55 when it wasn't 55. And now it actually changed to 50, although Google did correct it to 50 for this stretch. So you're 3 miles ahead. We've got our next stop, I believe. Or 3 miles ahead is when we're making a right-hand turn. We've still got, it says 11 minutes to our destination, which is 5.7 miles. There's the Logan City Public Works Department. So we are in Logan, or part of Logan. Again, like I said, this pumpkin walk is in North Logan, so I don't know exactly where the distinctions are. There's some Coca-Cola plant on the right, followed by a FedEx. So some warehouse related things. Gosner Foods on the left. Big plant for that one. Gosner Foods dairy products. And then on the right you've got a Costco wholesale store. I think that Gosner Foods, I did read ahead of time, it's sort of like they sell, I think there's a store area there too where they sell products that are, would be a nice pit stop if you're into that. Different. You got a merging into one lane here. And that's another thing, like if it was nighttime, I don't know how easily I would pick that up. Usually Google Maps identifies when there's a traffic light, but it does not have a symbol for a traffic light here at 1800 North. I believe at the next intersection, which I do see a traffic light far up ahead, even though there's not one in Google Maps, but I'm going to guess that's where I'm turning right, because it says 0.7 miles away, turn right. It should be Airport Road.
In half a mile, turn right onto Utah 252 North, West 2500 North. Take the next right onto Utah 252 North, West 2500 North.
Sharp turn.
Continue on West 2500 North for 3 miles.
Continuing here for 3 miles. Six minutes away, so I have a feeling this road is going to actually take us into like the city per se. Like we were probably on the border of it before. When I say city, I mean inner city. So even though I was confident that was hoping that that UPS truck would do what it should, like center lane and then wait for me to pass it, you know, part of you wonders like are they just gonna try to fully turn in front of me? That's why I kind of veered to the right there. is. So we must be inner city now, because right after this stop, or right after this traffic light here, look what it says. Speed limit 30 miles per hour. I haven't seen that for a while. On that right, if you look to the right where that grayish, well, not the white truck ahead of us, but the silver truck that's to the right of it, once that clears us, look at the ground. Does it say welcome to Logan? No, it just says welcome. Okay, I could see the first couple letters that said welcome. I thought maybe it was going to say more of a welcome to the city type of sign. Should be getting the green light pretty soon here. Nice. Like I was mentioning, I gotta be cognizant. 30 miles per hour is gonna feel like a drastic difference compared to what I've been doing this whole video. It literally is the slowest speed limit I've hit this entire video, I think. I know up ahead I'm going to want to be in the right lane. Well, hopefully up here it doesn't merge into one lane. I just did that for no reason. I think it is, kind of. I was looking ahead like, wait a minute, there's a sidewalk up ahead. I can't just continue on that lane. This Elk Ridge Park on the map looks fairly big, so I don't know where the actual entrance is. It's just telling me where the park is located on Google Maps. I feel like turtle speed now. I am going 30 though. Speed limit down to 25 now, even slower. But Elk Ridge Park should be coming up here on the right side pretty soon.
1,000 feet, turn right onto North 1060 East.
North 1060 East. It's ahead still. That's 10:20.
Take the next right onto North 1060 East, then your destination will be on the left.
Okay, given the amount of cars here, I don't know, is there a parking lot over here? There's the pumpkin walk. So it's definitely busy. There was one parking space there I should have gone to.
Your destination is on the left.
Got speed bumps here. Jeez. That parking space is too kind of tight. I don't mind walking. Looks like we got some spaces over here, potentially. Yeah, we got it. This is my type of parking. When there's no fear of mixing it up with other cars. All right. Hopefully that worked good. Let me try rotating this camera around. Oh, I got the mirror in the way, but thanks for tuning into this driving video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will be filming like the pumpkin walk, so if you want to see like the conclusion, that'll be just being titled under a separate video, but we will see you next time.